If you're running a small business, you know better than anyone that every single minute counts. So, what if you could get hours, actual hours, back in your week? Well, today, we're explaining how AI automation can do exactly that. Think of this as your personal guide to supercharging your business, even if you're a complete beginner with all this tech stuff. Let's just kick things off with a number that should really get your attention: 40%. A recent McKinsey study from 2024 found that AI automation can boost a small business's productivity by up to 40%. Now, that's not just a small tweak, right? That is a potential game changer for how you operate and how you grow. All right, so here is our game plan for today. First, we are going to demystify what this term AI automation actually means. Then we'll look at how real businesses just like yours, are already winning with it. After that, I'm going to give you a super simple roadmap to get started. We'll bust some common myths, and we'll wrap up with the exact first step you can take today. Sound good? Let's dive in. So, what are we really talking about when we say AI automation? It's a phrase you hear everywhere these days, but let's cut through the noise and get a clear, simple definition. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Traditional automation is like a basic calculator. It's really good at following a strict rule. If this, then that. But AI automation, that's more like a smart assistant. It doesn't just follow your instructions. It actually learns from what you've done in the past to anticipate what you need next. It gets smarter over time. And what all this adds up to are real, tangible benefits that you'll feel in your business. We're talking about way more than just saving a bit of time. It's about cutting costs, seriously reducing errors, creating marketing that feels personal to every customer, and making smarter, data-backed decisions every single day. Okay, theory is great and all, but let's see what this actually looks like out in the real world. We're going to look at 3 quick examples of small businesses, probably a lot like yours, that are using AI to solve real-world problems right now. So first up, picture a local outdoor equipment store. They were constantly fighting that classic retail battle, having way too much of one product and never enough of another. And you know what that means: lost sales and money just sitting on the shelves. So what did they do? They brought in an AI inventory system. Now, this tool didn't just track what they sold yesterday. No, it analyzed years of sales data. It factored in seasonal trends, and it even looked at local weather forecasts to predict what customers would want to buy next week. You see the difference? It's like going from driving by looking in the rearview mirror to having a GPS for your entire inventory. And here's the bottom line: a direct 15% cut in their operational costs. That is a huge win. And they didn't get it by working harder. They got it by working smarter with AI. Okay, next up, let's picture a popular little family diner. They were so busy that the phone was just constantly ringing. People trying to book a table, asking about the menu, all of which pulled the staff away from the customers who were right there in front of them. So by putting a simple AI chatbot on their website, they automated the vast majority of these conversations. The bot could handle reservations, answer common questions, and it could do it all 24/7 without ever getting tired. And check out the impact that had on their customers. With the staff freed up to actually focus on the people in the diner, their customer satisfaction scores shot up by a massive 20%. And for our last example, let's think about a small online fashion boutique. They really wanted to move past those generic, hey, 20% off everything emails, and make their marketing feel way more personal and, effective. So they adopted an AI marketing tool that basically acted like a personal shopper for every single customer. It looked at browsing history and past purchases to send out emails that felt less like a blast and more like a personal recommendation. So instead of a generic sale email, customers were seeing items they'd actually be excited to buy. The outcome? Absolutely phenomenal. This super personalized approach led directly to a 30% increase in sales. This is just a perfect example of how AI can turn your data into actual dollars. So, how can you get results like these? I promise it's not as complicated as you might think. Here's a simple 5-step roadmap to get you started on your own AI journey. Okay, the key here is to just follow these 5 steps. Start by making a list of those annoying, repetitive tasks that just drain your time. Then, find the right tool for that specific job. Make sure it integrates with the software you already use. Really important, train your team on how it helps them. And finally, measure the impact so you can actually see the return you're getting. It's a simple, repeatable process.
Now, take a look at some of these tools, but don't get bogged down in the names. The single most important thing to know about this slide is how accessible these things are. You don't need a huge budget. For example, a tool like Zapier has a free plan that lets you do simple stuff, like automatically saving a new email attachment to your Dropbox. It is a tiny tweak that can save you a surprising amount of time, and it costs nothing to get started. All right. Even with a clear plan and affordable tools, it is totally natural to have some hesitations. So let's take a minute and just tackle a couple of the most common myths about AI head on. The biggest myth by far is about the cost. 10 years ago? Yeah, this might have been true. But today, the reality is that the market is absolutely flooded with powerful, affordable, and even free tools that were built from the ground up specifically with small business owners in mind. And then there's the other big one, the fear. Will AI replace my team? The truth is, it's not about replacement, it's about elevation. AI is here to handle the boring, robotic tasks so that your team can focus on what humans do best, building relationships, thinking strategically, and coming up with brilliant, creative solutions. Okay, we've covered the why, the what, and the how. We've busted the myths. Now it's time to talk about the most important part, your very first move. Look, you don't need to overhaul your entire business overnight. The secret to success with AI is to start small and rack up some quick wins. Just pick one of these ideas, seriously, just one, and try to implement it this week. See for yourself how much time it saves you. So here's the real bottom line. AI is not some futuristic tech for giant corporations anymore. It's here, it's now, and it's giving small businesses the power to compete, to grow, and to get their time back. Your competitors are already using it. So the only real question left is the one right here on your screen. What repetitive task will you automate first?